Hello, everybody. I'm checking. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. I have a bad history with not being heard. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday. It is my first Wednesday with my kids back in school. It's their first day back to school, or wait, no, their second full day. So, first week in school. And I still feel like I am way behind the 8 ball. So this week is all about catching up, and I'm excited that I have a live without kids in the background, and I don't even have my dog here. So woo-hoo. I do want to show you guys, I finally got my fasting Foodie zip up. It is so comfortable. It's soft on the inside, very warm, and I love it. So I was I was kind of hoping to get it earlier than telling you guys merch was available. But I love my hat and I love my zip up. So I'm wearing it and I love it. If you are ever interested in ordering merch, I make very little off of it, but I know it's fun and I like having it. So it is linked below the videos and it's fun to have. I see we have friends, so we're going to just get started and just say hello. I don't really have anything official to talk to you guys about. Trying to think, this Sunday I do plan to start my lives where I'm not going to be going through the comments. I know some people don't like when I go through the comments and say hi to everyone. Starting this Sunday evening, it's not going to probably be the exact time every time. It's meant to be more that it's there to reference. I'm going to be going through, starting this upcoming Sunday on the 3rd, my fasting hours for the week, where I talk about, like, today I'm breaking my fast and eating lunch by myself. Actually, right after this live, I'm going to eat really quick because I'm eating leftovers. I don't want the dinner my family's having. And then tomorrow, that gives me time to have lunch with my husband, and just juggling my hours. I kind of recount what I did and why I made the choices. And I hope that it is a tool for those learning to fast, just to learn how to flex the hours and how I do that. So I'm going to get started with the comments. So when I do the one on Sunday, I won't be going through the comments. I probably will have comments off, simply because I don't want people to think I'm purposely ignoring them, like in a hurtful way. I am purposely ignoring, but it's just more meant to be a tool, a really quick thing, and something that I can dip in, do, and have it there. So I'm going to go through. Hi, Darlene. Hi, Harold. I love seeing the gummy bear emoji is like my favorite one. So I love seeing you guys use the emojis. Hi, Mom. And Patty. We have Simone. Sherry. It's rainy where you are. We are not in the rain. Are you in the, I can't think of what the hurricane name is. Adalia? Is that right? Are you in that path? I hope not. And if you are, I hope you stay safe. Simply Steph. Hello, my fellow Michigander. Carnivore dog sitter Becky in Indianapolis. Hello. Let's see here. Hi, CJ. I like that, CJ. And D is in California. We're all over the world. Dorothy in South Florida. Smilene. Oh, you just listened to the podcast that went out today with Kayla. I actually really enjoyed talking with Kayla. It was, I never really knew much of her channel. Then she did an interview with me and I interviewed her. Really loved it. So I'm glad you liked that. And Carissa says, hi, I do OMAD, but I put heavy whipping cream in my coffee. It works for me. Question, do you ever get boredom hunger? Okay. First of all, I think it's great that you do what works for you. And if that is what's going to keep you going on fasting, I think that's wonderful. I don't, it's not what I recommend. And I've actually had someone email me that they were disappointed about, I don't think they use the word disappointed, but they don't like that I share clean fasting as the option that I would recommend. And just because it's not like what I recommend putting heavy whipping cream, I love that you guys share what works for you guys. And what works for me is all that I can speak on. I can't speak on anything else because I do what I do. I can share my experiences, but I am really excited that you have found what works for you. And I think it's great to share that. Also, do I get boredom hunger? I really honestly don't anymore. I think what I would probably most likely battle is stress hunger. But boredom hunger, if I have those kind of feelings, this is going to sound ridiculous. Maybe I am more likely to just like hype myself up for the future eating window. So if I'm like, okay, I would feel like I'd eat right now if I weren't fasting, and I'm so far into fasting, I think is why I don't really fight boredom hunger anymore. My normal go-to is I just make a new drink. It's like my boredom hunger has turned to boredom drinking. And I'm talking like coffee, iced tea, water. So that is like my default. And I think just because I've been doing it so long, that is my norm. So if I have a boredom hunger, it's just like, oh, I'm sick of my black coffee. Let's go get an iced tea. So I very regularly do that. And I think that helps me not feel boredom hunger. I still sometimes, and I was always a stress like eater, comfort eater. I think I more deal with that, but then I just think of something else like, oh, I'll listen to a podcast. I'll put an audiobook on. And I think I've just been doing it so long that when I would normally turn to it, I just know what I do instead. However, stress eating still is a part of my eating window. So I know when I'm stressed, I can tell in my eating window that I see like a difference in like, oh, I ate a bunch of candy last night. Getting back to school is hard on little ones. And my first grader is really he's liking school, but he's like a terror at night right now. And I just like kept popping in the candy that we got at Halloween from Disney. And I'm like, okay, that is good. I have an eating window. Otherwise I would have been doing that maybe all day. But no, boredom, hunger, I don't really get anymore. But I think it's just from practice. And then I've changed my habits around it so long that it's just not the norm anymore. Now, I mean, I think it would be a lie to say never, but I can't think of the last time I can remember it, if that makes sense. Let's see. Hi from Middle Tennessee. I'm on day 8. Yay, good for you, Christy Marie. Woohoo. And tomorrow will be day 9, one day at a time, and you will soon be a 3-year faster. Let's see. Dawn says, how is getting back in the swing of things after Disney this time versus last time? I'm trying to think of what the big difference would have been, but it was so much easier this time. I don't know if it's because I have another year under my belt. I don't know if it's because I had like half the time I hit my 18 hours, so I wasn't super far off, and none of that was intentional. It was just based on our days. But I had a much easier time getting back to OMAD this time than last time. I think the hardest still is, like the day I came back, like the first OMAD, I made lasagna and I really liked cooking and making something from scratch. But then the next day I was like, man, I like going out to eat so much more than making every meal. So that was like, it's all back to me again. That was probably the worst part. But as far as getting back to OMAD, I don't know. Last time I had a really hard time with it. I kind of had to white knuckle it to get through it. And this time I didn't. And I think that's because half the time I was keeping my 18 hours just because it's what worked well. Let's see here. And I have officially, like I said, last time I said I was 2 pounds up. I have officially, like, I'm lower than when I went on vacation. Part of that has to do with, I don't know. I have a video. I'm not sure if I'll ever put it out or not. And for all the males in the audience, I'm sorry. I was supposed to be on my period Sunday to Sunday, and I flew out Sunday to Sunday. So literally the exact window of vacation was exactly when my period was predicted to be. So for the first time in my adult life or ever, I bought like a medication that's hormonally based that like delays your period essentially. I would try to tell you what the name of it is, but I can't remember. It's from wisp.com is where I found it. So you like request it, a doctor reviews your medical records based on your questionnaire, your birthday, all that stuff. And then I got it through the mail. Well, one of the side effects is weight gain, which I didn't realize until I started taking it. And I got super inflamed. Like I started taking it before I did my weight, before we left. And then I gained 2 pounds while at Disney while I was still taking that medication. And then when I came back, I stopped taking the medication, got my period. I'm like past that now. And I have lost the weight that I gained on the period. And I'm actually a little less than what I was right before we left. And I think probably like part of that's medication based. And then also just getting back to OMAD, still at the low 150s. So I don't know. Can't remember how I got to that, but I did lose the weight, I think is where I was trying to go with it. Sorry, little side note. Monica says, hi, just want to tell you, you've been so helpful in my fasting journey. Lots of love from Ontario, Canada. Thank you, Monica. Honestly, I feel so honored and humbled. Anytime someone considers me like a part of their success, it's awesome. And I'm so happy for others to find the freedom that I found. Let's see. Holly, hello. Hello, Bernie in the UK. Tammy says, I love watching Kayla. Can't wait to listen. Awesome. If you like watching versus listening, I mean, obviously you could do both, but her video comes out next Friday. So it's the same thing, just in video format, but it was really a pleasure to talk to her. Daniela says, my cholesterol level is high and I'm trying to figure out how to modify my fasting to help reduce it. Any tips? Okay. So first of all, I'm like the not science person around here. I went to graduate school and got my bachelor's, and I took one science class only because I had to. So that's just to tell you, I am not a sciencey person. My understanding is as you do fasting and you are losing weight, your cholesterol is likely to increase. If you are burning fat, you're going to have higher fat content in your bloodstream, and your cholesterol is going to reflect that. I could be wrong, but it's not abnormal to be a faster that's losing weight and your cholesterol actually increase in the short term. I don't have tips. I have not really dealt with any cholesterol issues, and it's not anything I know about. So I'm sorry. I wish I had some advice for you, but I really feel like it's a territory that I shouldn't even touch because I don't really know. Darlene says she loves her hoodie too. Yay, we could be twins. I do wish I had it at Disney, although it was too hot, but I love to wear these like over t-shirts and tank tops. I will probably be wearing it in a lot of videos because zip ups, I just throw on over everything that I'm wearing. Amber's having a down day. Yay. I love down days. I did one just a few days ago, and I look forward. I probably will do one this weekend. I'm thinking Sunday we're having my son's birthday party, and I was thinking about doing one Saturday before Sunday. Also, I know my mom's on here. I'm just saying this. This is like, Mom, it's just a friend's from school birthday party that anyone really shouldn't want to be at. It's a bunch of 6 and 7-year-olds at a pool. Pray for me. It's not like a big family. He's just never had a friend party, so we're having one this year, last minute. So let's see. Ash says, Jackie, you missed the hurricane this year. Happy it didn't happen during your trip. It isn't bad where I am, but schools are still closed. You know what? My mom actually sent me the hurricane, and Matt and I have been like, wow, we were really close to another hurricane. And somehow my phone is set to Florida still. And I got so many alerts of a tornado warning yesterday and voicemails, and I'm very grateful I missed it. I'm sorry you're having to deal with it, but I hope you stay safe. But yes, I'm glad I missed it. Hey, good for you, Paul. Paul has all of September off of work. Woohoo! Enjoy your break. I hope it's for good reasons and you get to enjoy all of September. That sounds amazing. Carnivore, thank you for suggesting. I'm going to call you Becky, actually. I'm not going to call you Carnivore. Suggesting you hit the like button. I do appreciate that. Let's see. Holly asks, did I experience any hair loss? I'm about 5 or so months in and suddenly shedding like at a terrifying rate. I have not had like a giant experience with it as far as fasting is related. Anytime I've lost weight, I feel like more hair. And I do feel like that is like a side effect of weight loss. Again, it's not something I've had like giant experience with. So I don't really have anything to say. I know a lot of people have asked me about it, and I know a lot of people do experience that. And I don't know if it's fasting or just weight loss in general. From my understanding, can lead to hair loss. But yeah, I would definitely talk to your provider about that if you're worried about the amount. Let's see. Simply Steph says, my OMAD actually saves me money. Just another benefit. I don't get my Starbucks dessert coffee every morning now or order lunch at work most days like I did before. That is amazing. And so many people say that is a huge benefit. And I totally can understand that. I feel like it saves me money in some ways, but for me personally, I used to eat all of our leftovers. So now I like hate. That's like one of the only things I really dislike is not being our leftover eater because I hate wasting food, but I just find people to give our leftovers to. I have a couple neighbors that like to receive them, my in-laws. So I never but I do like not buy frivolous things, although I'm more likely to spend more in my OMAD eating window. Like, oh, I'll go out to eat and get dinner, dessert, and a salad. Not all the time, but I'm more likely to spend more or spend money on what I really want instead of like a value just to have the perfect OMAD. But in the long run, I definitely do think it saves money. Let's see. Amber says, by the way, I like your podcast a lot. Thank you. You interview well and make it conversational. A lot of people just ask questions and don't actually carry the conversation. And I prefer how you do it. You know what, Amber, that is really nice of you because it is a huge, insecurity of mine. I couldn't think of the word. I feel very unpolished as a podcast interviewer, and it's very like difficult because you're on the spot and you do want it to be conversational. And sometimes I lose my train of thought and I feel like such a noob at it that I appreciate that you enjoy it. So thank you. Sarah says, I just started recently. I'm getting frustrated because my weight keeps fluctuating like 3 pounds up and down. I started about 3 weeks ago. When do you really start seeing results of weight loss? Well, that really depends, I think, person to person. I only lost about 4 pounds in the first 4 weeks. And I hesitate to say only because that still was a 4-pound weight loss. I would really, really focus on learning to fast, learning what windows feel good for you, learning to be flexible before you really worry about the weight loss, because there are people that do it much longer and lose just a few pounds because your body is adjusting, your body's trying to figure out what's going on, your body's trying to make sure you're not actually starving. Like there's so much to figure out that it may not be immediate weight loss, but if you stick with it and you learn how to flex your windows and you learn to enjoy it, then the weight loss can come naturally and you'll be doing something you enjoy. So it really just depends. My personal journey, because you asked, was I lost 4 pounds in the first month, and then I lost about 1 to 2 pounds most weeks. And then all of a sudden I stopped losing weight, not because I don't have excess weight to lose. I certainly could. I mean, I have like fat on me. I'm not a size 0 rail. I don't need to be either, but I have hit a point where my body's not going to lose weight if I don't change the way I'm eating, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to fast, enjoy my eating window, and naturally, as things don't sound good or I have cravings or whatever, I'm going to let that dictate my food choices. But yeah, I could lose more weight, but I'm letting it happen. I'm letting my body like stay at the weight that it plateaued at, right around 150. Because I'm happy here, but I really like fasting and I really enjoy my eating window and I'm happy with that balance. Every person is going to lose weight at a different rate, and I wouldn't really let that be your focus. And I know it's really hard to say when you come to it for weight loss, and I certainly did myself, but there's so many benefits, and I have found something that I enjoy doing, and I lost weight and I'm able to maintain my weight. And in the long run, that's so much better than quick weight loss that's unsustainable, if that makes sense. So good for you being new, but like, don't think of it as like a race, like a sprint. It's a marathon. And I know that's like such a cliche to say in weight loss, but it's really true. Like you're in it for the long run. MD Beck says, thanks for the videos that show when you're indulging in food. It helps me not beat myself up if I have a bigger eating day. I know I can get right back on track without derailing all my progress. Awesome. Thank you for the mutual encouragement, because I mean, everyone sees it. Like people hate on me in comments or think I'm trying to say, hey, MD Beck, you should eat exactly what I eat in this eating window. And I'm not. I'm just showing someone that found personal success with freedom, with flexibility, enjoying food. And I really do think there's power in sharing my personal journey to encourage others that, hey, you've struggled in the past with diets, you've gone overboard, you burn out. Here's something that might work for you too. And I'm glad that that resonates with you. And it is nice to hear like nice comments like that to kind of keep going when people are mean. I mean, sometimes it's like, okay, screw this. I can just keep my life private and like whatever. But I mean, I really don't ever get close to actually doing that. But sometimes I'm like, okay, person, thanks a lot. Paul's having pizza. Whoop, whoop. We're having pizza at our party this weekend. And Mom says, have fun for the party, I think. I just don't want you to think we didn't invite you and it's a family party, which I'm sure you wouldn't have. But as I was saying, I was like, I need to clarify. Let's see. Cynthia, just broke my fast with one of your meals. Cottage cheese, cauliflower, pumpkin seeds, and a little avocado. It's one of my favorites too. Yum. I am breaking my fast early, like I said, right after this. And I have cottage cheese and I'm going to dip some chips in it. Leftover potato soup from last night. But I'm really looking forward to the cottage cheese. I already have a bunch of pepper on it. I'm ready to go because I have to eat quick before I go get my kids. But I'm very excited for it. That sounds amazing. All of it. The only thing I would add is a little ranch to dip my cauliflower in. Hi. Oh, Nancy's saying hi to Monica. And okay, fellow Canadians, I like it. Inspired by Christy, LJ says, what helps you with headaches or feeling weak on 1,000-calorie OMADs? I tend to crave sugar and feel weak when at low calories compared to 2 meals a day. I'm at 130 pounds. Well, when I do my low calorie days, so I don't I don't track calories except for on my down days if I do a 500 calorie meal. The things I try to really focus on is one, having low to no sugar really allows me to get the most bang for my buck, and not eating sugar is going to help you not crave more sugar as a general principle. So having an egg stir fry, or I love Jimmy John's unwitches if you're on the go. High volume vegetables, has the fat of avocado or mayonnaise in it, and the meats and the cheese, the staying power, it's going to help you feel full. I don't really get headaches. I did at the very beginning of fasting. I got headaches, and it was just as part of the adjustment period, but I don't really deal with headaches anymore. The weak feeling, I guess I don't really get that either. Not from fasting. But the low calorie days, I eat high volume. I try to make sure that I can eat a lot for a little calories. And a lot of that is just focusing really on the quality of foods. It's hard to eat prepackaged things. So a lot of vegetables and eggs or meats, cheeses gets a lot of bang for buck. And then I take my element almost every single day. And if I'm having a 500 calorie or low calorie day, I do sparkling water with the element. And I do think that helps me feel fueled up and keep me going without a drop in my minerals. And for me, some people do get headaches. Some people feel ugh. I get sore legs. That's where I've noticed the difference when I do longer fasts, or, a 500 calorie meal that really kind of bridges too fast. When I do the element, it helps me. That's why I keep working with them, but I don't really get the headaches or the weak feeling. One thing that might be helpful, if you're trying to do a low calorie day and it doesn't make you feel good, just skip that meal. Just do a long fast without a low calorie day. That might be easier for you. A lot of people say they don't like the 500 calorie days kind of for that reason, or it's hard for them to stop eating. So just have a long fast and then just the next day have 2 meals a day. But I never count my calories on the 2 meals a day. So going from 1,000 calories to 1,350 really doesn't seem like a lot. You are definitely smaller than me. But I would just maybe skip the low cal day or the really low cal day and just have a longer fast. That might be easier if you're having a hard time with it. But again, I would definitely eat a lot more than 1,350 calories on an up day. I don't track my calories, but that would be my recommendation, is that maybe you're just not having enough calories to begin with. But that is so far outside my wheelhouse of who needs to eat what in what quantities. But that's just my thoughts based on what I'm reading. Team SK, it's great to see someone that eats what they want and still fasts. Thank you for the encouragement. One of my favorite rebuttals for people is when they say, oh, what's the point of fasting if you're going to still do that? Okay, so it's better for me to do this all day long? I think it would be hard for them to say no. They want me to fast and eat perfect food. And in my mind, it's better to fast and still eat the foods I enjoy. Let's see. Zach says, I didn't lose weight right away, took over a month. However, did notice clothes fit differently. A year later, 40 pounds off. Perfect example of what I was saying earlier. It's going to be different for every single person. And yes, I have clothes that fit at a higher weight than they did when I weighed less doing diets, that they didn't fit because it's body recomposition. Again, science, not my forte, but it just one weight is not always the same as a weight you were earlier. So like, don't focus just on the number, but I appreciate Zach, you sharing your experiences because that's an encouragement, hopefully, to the woman that asked earlier about her 3 pounds. Simply Steph, I found that my weight stays the same for 4 days, 6 days. Then there will be a whoosh and 5 pounds gone overnight. I don't understand the science of it, but I'll take it. I don't understand it either, but I'm glad for you. And people talk about that whoosh. I've never had like that drastic like release. Mine was always like a slow, steady climb, or not climb, downhill. But I think it's kind of amazing. The way I imagine it is I know urine takes a lot of fat out of your body. It's like something releases a lot of fat cells. You go to the bathroom in the morning and it just takes it all out. But I would think you'd almost notice that. I don't know it either, obviously. Christy says, you have named if seem doable compared to others I've watched. That is 100% my goal because there were very few people early on that made me like them sharing certain points. I know you guys have heard me say it. The guy with the peanut butter shake said he eats it every night. And I was like, wow, I don't eat a peanut butter shake every night, but hearing that he does that makes me feel like I can enjoy XYZ that sounds good to me this day too. And when I enjoy the food every day, it's easy to maintain. So thank you for the encouragement. Sarah says, thanks. I started OMAD and break my fast around 4 or 5 p.m. every day and usually stop at 7. I'll keep your tips in mind. Perfect. Keep us updated how it goes. I love hearing from you guys. Maria likes the conversational side of the podcast also. Yay. Hopefully it just keeps getting better too, because the more I interview people, the less scared I am, to be honest. And I think next week I start podcast interviews again, which I'm a little scared of because I haven't done it since right before school ended, but I hope they continue to improve for you guys. And I appreciate you guys listening. Let's see. Marie says, did you start with longer eating windows before you moved to OMAD and ADF? How long did it take to get to OMAD? So my initial goal was to have a 4 to 10 p.m. eating window every night because I liked having dinner with my family. Most days, breakfast for me was honestly nibbling on whatever my kids didn't eat or something. I don't know. I honestly didn't eat breakfast very regularly, but it wasn't ever like a planned thing. And then lunch was always leftovers. Again, whatever my kids were doing, I'd eat whatever they didn't eat. So none of it was like super hard for me to give up. And then dinner was always something that I planned, I made, I enjoyed, but I didn't really get to enjoy it with dieting. So then getting to dinner was like, hey, if I can enjoy this meal and then I have the opportunity to snack at night. So I needed that like to look forward to. So my initial goal was 18.6. However, I almost never had my eating window go far past dinner because I would eat a substantial amount, which is how I like to enjoy meals. And I was just so satisfied. I'd be like, oh, well, I guess I'll just close it. And it accidentally became OMAD because I was so satisfied with that dinner. And then so that it really naturally very quickly became OMAD. And it was like, when I heard of OMAD at the very beginning, I'm like, okay, that sounds ridiculous because it just sounded so restrictive. But then pretty soon I'm like, oh, I guess I'm doing that because I really, really like it. I really liked having dinner, eating the quantity I wanted, really enjoying the meal that I made or the meal we went out for, and just being able to enjoy it however I wanted. And I liked having longer fasts. So it worked for me and it very quickly became OMAD, but it wasn't because I planned to do it. I just naturally found that I like to do that. So then I remember in July, it was right before my mom's birthday because I went to visit her for her birthday. I did my first down day so that I could eat lunch with my mom visiting her and then dinner that night. And I just really liked kind of the game of it. I liked having the variety of a down day. It feels kind of empowering having a longer fast, especially at the beginning. I was like, wow, that was actually doable. I could do that. I was like proud of myself. And then I saw it made a difference in the weight loss, doing a down day, having an up day. It gave me variety. I had the ability to kind of change my schedule based on wanting to meet someone for lunch, going out with friends, or wanting to eat a leftover of something. I don't know, whatever it was, I had the ability to have lunch and dinner in a planned manner and have the down day. So that came pretty quickly too. I started fasting in June. my first down day was in July. It was kind of experimental, and I really just started doing it about once a week, especially while I was losing weight. And now it's about once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. But it was just kind of playing with different things and enjoying it and seeing what I liked. That got me there. Let's see. Marie Muncie says, you help me tremendously. I love that you share your meals and show that it's all about fasting and not having to restrict foods. No counting calories, carbs, fats, macros. That's where it's at for me. And I fully admit, maybe everyone can't do it exactly like that. You might have medical concerns or obstacles to overcome, and you need to diet. I don't know. But there are lots of people like me and Murray and a lot of you that understand, and just shifting, doing that all day to a smaller eating window makes a huge difference. And it gives me peace and it gives me much greater health, and I'm here for it. And I'm so glad, Murray, you have found help with that too. Hi, Vonda. Viola is in East Tennessee. Hello. CJ, I was watching your last podcast interview and this popped up. I enjoy them too. I'm fairly new to fasting. It's been a month or two, only fasting 14 to 16 hours, but I've already lost 10 pounds and feel great. That is amazing. And that's perfect, because if you can do that with 14 to 16 hours, that's the perfect illustration of what works for you doesn't work for me. If I only fast 14 to 16 hours, that is way too long for me to eat, because I eat volume. I have a hard time if I'm not eating, as far as like picking at things. So fasting can work for you differently than me. And I love that you found what works for you. Keep it up and keep me informed on your success. Let's see. Kiki says, I purchased Fast Feast Repeat and it was the best purchase I've made in a long time. Thank you, Jaggy. Yay. I'm glad you love it. Honestly, everyone knows I love Fast Feast Repeat. A very good friend recommended it to me when I said I was going to do fasting. And here I am 3 years later. It has changed my life and I just love it. So I'm glad that you loved it too. Karen says, did you find that when you got to the appropriate weight for your body that you didn't lose weight anymore, but maintain? It's very hard to get out of diet mentality because we don't have cheat days. I don't know why I didn't really have a hard time getting out of diet mentality. I think it was just so freeing that I was like, yes, I will cling to this, because I was constantly in a state of screw dieting. I'm going to eat what I want. And then I'd gain the weight and then I'd go back to dieting, and I hated it so much that I think it was so much for me to like, yay, give this up. My only diet mentality that I have a hard time shaking is sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, I gained all this weight. Like if I felt indulgent the day before, I very rarely feel guilty or anything. But every once in a while I'm like, did I gain all the weight? And I know that's really silly, but that's like the thing I deal with the most, is like suddenly feeling like, I weigh 190 pounds again. So I don't deal with that too much. However, yes, I did find that when I got to right around 150, I have to work very hard. I've done keto or 75 hard, even 75 hard. I really didn't drop weight. If I want to get below 150, it is dieting, even in my eating window. And I just don't want to make that sacrifice. And I know that might sound like ridiculous to people, but I got to 150. I'm 5'10". It's a very healthy weight range for my body, for my size, my height, I guess. And once I got there, eating my one meal a day without restriction doesn't get me any lower than that. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it fluctuates. I'd say 147 to 153. I'm anywhere in there depending on where I am in my cycle, or, I probably fluctuate season to season. If we're going into ice cream a lot more, I'm just in that range. Like I don't really fret about it. I don't weigh myself super regularly anymore. But it's always within that range. I'm very happy with that. And so I say 150 is like my median. And I have to do dieting to get below that. And I've done that, but I'm not interested in keeping up with that. So my body was like, hey, this is where we'll camp out. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. Let's see. What do I recommend for athletes? Well, I don't really have a great recommendation. Also, I'm going to say I am going to be leaving here shortly. So I'm sorry, I'm probably going to say this wrong. Jalaire, after your comment, I'm going to say my goodbyes. I see I have two more, but I'm not, Fast Feast Repeat gives a lot of great insight into exercising and Human growth hormone production can actually increase when you're fasting. I'm not an athlete, but I prefer to do physical activity in a fasted state because I have plenty of fuel on my body. My body has the ability to flip the metabolic switch. I have adjusted. So if my body needs energy, it knows where to find it. It's right on my butt and my thighs is where I really love to harbor my fuel. But my fat stores, my body knows to go to it. So I like to do things like, I always think of like gardening. When I was early in my fasting journey, we had a bunch of mulch. I didn't want to do it after I ate. I felt so much better doing it in a fasted state, or going on walks in the morning. I enjoy that physically more than in the evening when I take my walks because I feel better in a fasted state than after I ate. I feel kind of like like after Thanksgiving feeling. I just have more of I don't want to do much feeling after I eat, but I don't feel that so much when I am fasting. But I'm not an athlete, so I can't really speak to that. But I do like to ask people on my podcast when they are runners or they do CrossFit. I've had a number of people that say they really enjoy doing their fitness classes, instructors in a fasted state. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I don't have advice to give. And I think it really probably depends on what type of athlete too, but it's not really something I have advice to speak on. So I'm sorry. Okay, I started fasting 43 days ago after seeing some of your videos. Yay. Thank you for setting an example of showing me how I can do this for the rest of my life. So far, 15 pounds down and I feel really good. Yay. I am so happy for you. That is amazing. 15 pounds in 43 days is a really, really amazing start. And again, I'm very honored to be just a small part of that. And I hope you continue to show up and give me updates on your progress. I'm really, really happy for you. Ashley says, I know this might be controversial, but if cured my eating disorder, I no longer obsess over food and it opens up more time for me to do other things I enjoy. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but it helped me. I think that is amazing. I do think I'm not going to say controversial. I know from my studies that eating disorder can really be triggered by fasting. And I do think it's kind of a slippery slope. I do have another podcast interview of someone who sounds pretty similar. She had an eating disorder and she said that fasting actually really helps, but she could see how it wouldn't help some people. So if I know anyone that's had an eating disorder, I would never probably talk to them about fasting just because I don't know how it could go. But I can honestly see how I've never had an eating disorder. I've always been obsessed with food, but I've never had any like diagnosed eating disorder. So I don't at all want to compare myself, but I would constantly think about what I was eating, what I wasn't eating. Could I, should I, shouldn't I? Did I eat too much? Wow, I didn't eat that and I wish I would have. It was consuming. So I have also been able to remove that burden of dieting mentally. And that has been by far my favorite part of fasting, that I don't obsess about it anymore. And it was always a negative obsession. Now I can think of what I'm going to eat. I enjoy it. And then I move on and I have so much more mental freedom and time. And I'm really, really glad that you found that as well. And I think that's amazing to do that, especially if you have eating disorder in your past. So I'm excited for you, Ashley, and I'm glad that you're here. I do think, I know as far as the controversial, I do think it's something to be considered, fasting with caution if you have an eating disorder past, because I can see that if you have disordered eating patterns, that fasting might trigger to an extreme. And I'm not saying that to you, Ashley. I'm saying that to anyone that might be listening, wondering if it's for them. It's something to consider with caution. And I would definitely talk about it with like a professional, not me. But I've had a really lovely conversation. I've loved talking to you guys, and it was so nice that my kids weren't home and I didn't have to worry. Woohoo. Wow. Oh, I can't. Okay. I'm trying to see. Kasinin, I probably butchered that and I apologize. Started fasting, down 37 pounds. Yay. And Lisa's in Michigan. What a beautiful day. It is amazing. I wear size 11 too. Where do I find shoes? Oh, you said two. I honestly, I buy them online, or this was amazing. And this is the last thing I want to say. I went There were these Nike shoes that I've been wanting. They were over $100. I went to Plato's Closet with my daughter for her to shop. The exact shoe that I wanted in a size 11 women's was there for $40 instead of like 120. I couldn't believe it because whatever is found in size 11 in the store usually is not what I want. So I shop online for shoes. And then I rarely buy shoes, but I know how Crocs fit. I know how Nikes fit. I'm pretty certain that they fit well. And I don't buy a ton of shoes because I'm not a big like dresser. I wear the same things all the time, my shoes included. But yay, size 11 shoes. I never had size 11 until I had my son 7 years ago almost. I used to be 10, and then I had to get rid of all my size 10 shoes. But yes, it's hard to find them. I can't ever buy them at Aldi. That's always a bummer because they have really inexpensive shoes, but they're too small for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Oh, QVC. I'm not laughing. If that's where you can get them, I think that's amazing. Is there a balance on drinking calories? Okay, I really have to go. This is literally it. I really like sweet teas, lemonades, and juices during my window, but I'm concerned I could overdo it. I definitely think you could overdo it because they go down really easy. And I'm with you because as a Panera Sips Club member, it's really easy to get those lemonades and mix them with my Element. And then it's like a 500 calorie drink of sugar. However, I've noticed my blood sugar responds really, really poorly to sugar drinks. I keep that in the back of my mind. I know that is not a good thing. And that makes it harder for me to choose them. Two, if I do it, I just make it a smaller version and enjoy it. So instead of filling up my tumbler with like this full of lemonade, I will fill it to here with sparkling water. And then I put this much lemonade and it gives like a great flavor. I also mix my Element with it. I'm not trying to like push that. I just enjoy it. But having the sparkling water with this much lemonade, even my kids love it. So it's pretty tasty without it all being sugared, but I do understand. I don't like sweet tea, but I do like lemonade. I love iced coffees, but I just kind of try to avoid them because I don't drink them as much. I just also find it easier to enjoy what I drink all day long if I also have it in my eating window because then it's still what I go for. I don't know if that makes sense. But I do love drinking sugary drinks. They do go down really fast. But I don't restrict. I don't want to say I don't restrict them. I am conscious of them, but I don't eliminate them because again, whatever I eliminate, I obsess over and then I want it. And that's not what I do on my fasting journey, but I do understand that they go down easy. What? D just said Panera added a sugar-free blood orange drink in California. Okay. Well, I hope they bring that to Michigan. They could get rid of, I don't know, the guava passion green tea. I've never had that one. Although some people probably love that, but I would love if they had a sugar-free version for my eating window my eating window. Okay. But I got to go. I have potato soup to eat. I hope you guys have a great week. Enjoy your eating window and I'll see you next week and I'll be live Sunday evening. And I'm going to feel really mean the first few times, but I'm not going to either look at comments or I'm just going to have them disabled because that's not the point of it. And I just want to do it quickly. But I hope you guys have a great week. Great to talk to you guys. Bye.